Too often in our society, those who are poor, especially women, are invisible to the world, especially in USA, because they don't have the money, nor the possessions, nor the power our society values. But what I saw from my mother growing up poor as a child, I know that the poor women are the most resilient, creative, compassionate, and life-skilled among us that I know that our communities and our society can benefit from. There are many ways Muslim women become invisible, or visible, rather. Two of the biggest reasons these years are two. Number one, a potential breeder for future terrorists. And I kid you not, I hear all the time, you Somalians have too many babies, stop. Some people ask, how many Somali terrorists do I know, or potential terrorists? So even reproductive, there is a worry about carrying a baby that is gonna explode. The second issue that Somali women and Muslim and immigrant refugee women become visible as the victims of their religion. They need to be rescued. They're not free. What I wanted to start with, I want to ask you, how poor are you? Really? Many societies around the world define poverty other than resources. But it also focuses squarely on the individual's characteristics. For example, if your lack of empathy and untrustworthiness is a form of poverty, all of us, including myself, since I've been here 70 years, we get used to our perfect organized. We have a calendar for the kids, calendar for our work, calendar for the church. Everything is perfect organized. But if we take that a moment and say, use everything except your brain, and organize by using nothing, no gadgets, nothing, what do you think is going to happen? We're all going to melt down. A crisis, I would say a public health crisis will happen. But women who lack resources, especially money, they do everything utilizing their brain. They become resilient. They become resourceful. So the question I really wanted to ask while I'm also talking is, how really are you poor? My father passed away when I was 7 and left a mother 6 kids, with one of whom had polio, which he was disabled. Women at that time, my father was the breadwinner and mother stayed home. My mother also had another challenge, which wasn't unique to her. She was illiterate of the books. Remember, I said illiterate of the books. Losing my dad's only source of income threw my mother into the front line for 6 kids, feeding us, clothing us. But even though mother was illiterate of the books, I believe, and I could testify, that she had a PhD of lifetime experience, how to live. In the morning, for breakfast, for food, she'll wake up early morning, before anyone wakes up, and she will start making big breakfast. We call it flatbread or injera. Some of you, I think, ate if you went to ethnic restaurants. That injera, or that morning breakfast, will be many. She knows that we will eat leftovers as a lunch, and sometimes we eat as dinner. Her goal was to really have food on the table. It didn't matter what it was. It was delicious, I can tell you that. If you're a hungry kid, you can eat anything. Second, an education. All of us went to school. No one at home was able to negotiate education with my mother, because she knew that was the only exit way to really avoid financial hardship. Especially my 3 sisters and I. She used to say, I don't care how rich your future husband to be, I want you to earn 10 shillings. The point she was making was, you need to be independent financially. Also, at the evening time, it was a family gathering time. Also, it's time for who had homework, who needed help. She couldn't read and write, but she will do everything in her power to find a tutor for us. The last thing we also did before we went to bed was check our brother who was disabled, bruises, because he crawled to school. And usually he had bruises on his hands and knees, because disabled people at that time didn't have any specific services. Still, disabled people in Africa don't receive a lot of services. At that time, in that moment, before we went to bed, that gathering and crawling around her was the best thing ever. It didn't matter what we didn't have, we had each other. I watched Mother had only one dress, that orange thread that you see on the screen. As we go to bed, she would wrap herself a bed sheet, start to wash that dress, hang it outside, try to get quick sleep. Before we woke up, because she's getting up for the breakfast, she'll take that dress out of the drapes, fold it, and that's where she puts under the big mattress to make it neat and clean. She makes the breakfast and she wears the dress. Who said that poor person cannot be clean and neat? Neighbors noticed. They said, Fatima, what's going on with your dress? How many of them do you have? She'll mumble because she didn't want to lie. And I would say, my 3 sisters and I knew that she only had that one dress. As our lives continued, Mother had our lives changed because someone had offered her a job, a housekeeper job. And Mother was able to get another dress quickly. Boy, were we happy also that we don't have to eat the leftovers. We started eating lunch, pasta or rice. I didn't care much about supper because who cared supper if you ate breakfast and lunch in those days? Still, some places in Africa, there's a famine, so I would feel guilty today even eating dinner a lot along those days. Eventually, our lives changed and we moved to Mogadishu, the capital of Somalia. And our lives continued to change. My older brother got a scholarship and came to Florida, and he was trained as a geologist, and he started working for a company that was in Mogadishu and creating clean waters for the communities. And our lives continued to get better. That orange dress, though, it didn't go away. We put it in one of our rooms as a reminder of the hard work that Mother did, as a reminder that we really have to work hard, never give up, but also the most important thing, to be kind to human beings, to be compassionate. After a couple of years later, Mother got ill and passed away. But though I focused on her, I love her, even though she's passed away, and I want to follow her footsteps. I want to so badly do everything that she wanted us to do, but also work for humanity. Whenever I face challenges or experience episodes of racism, I seek a refuge of those days with orange dress. I go there, totally disappear in there. It has so much cooling effect on me. I hear her saying, hey, get going. Don't get comfortable in this arena. I know you'll do fine, get going. Other people are waiting for you. There are other Somalis who have one dress. Get going. Her values that she left for us. In Somali, she used to say, Biyo sa'abadada logdarka. In English, it means to quench thirst, you must use your own palms. In other words, if you want to drink water, you cannot drink someone else's hands. You will never get satisfaction from that because you won't be able to get need from the water you need. I didn't know America then. I didn't know what America's values was then. That was my mom's. That was Somali value. That was African value. So, what do you see here? What is your first reaction? I show some of my friends, the first thing they see is what's missing around her. The life that she's in, the shack, the house, the clothes she's wearing, the dying or the dead infant that is laying on the near beside her. It's a fact that Somalia has one of the highest maternal infant mortality rate. So 1 in 4 children doesn't even reach 1 year. 1 in 9 women die in labor. It has nothing to do with religion. It has to do everything with the circumstances that women face. But what I see, though, I see determination. I see women who face challenges that wasn't by her doing. I see determination, I see compassion, I see a concern. I see a survivor. I see a woman who's saying, if I had opportunities, if she was educated when she was a girl, and she was earning income, she wouldn't be the victim of war. We give so much money into supporting women like this, but we never ask, what do you want? We want to feed them, clothe them, do something, prepare prepackaged ideas and solutions. And here's like, wham, do it, take it. We care about you, we love you. But never asking, what is it that she wants to do? Because we so feel compelled to help and do some things. So the problem is that women are still struggling in poverty in everything. It's really we're looking out to fix something. It's a deficit-based approach. And so when I found this quote from Toji Cole, that the white savior supports brutal policies in the morning, funds charities in the afternoon, and receives awards in the evening. The white savior industrial complex is not our justice. It's not about justice. It's about having big emotional experience that validates privilege. I thought I died and went to heaven when I saw this quote, because if I tried to explain to you, it would have taken maybe an hour. But he summarized it so well. A lot of people get offended when these things happen, and you tell you're giving so much, but nothing is happening. Here in Minnesota, we have the highest inequality of Native and African American women. Yet we pay so much money. Where is that going? You're trying to fix and make everyone white. You're trying to make everybody look like you. So it's the other way around. I want to tell you two stories quickly from the Somali community in Minnesota and even Europe. Number one is the female genital cutting, AKA female genital mutilation. According to the World Health Organization, 200 million women and girls have been already cut they're living in, right? But you hear the media even talk about those 200 women's vaginas without, yes, I said, yeah, you heard that, without their experience or their values or who talked to them. Latest argument that I heard was argument between Bill Maher and Professor Raza Asla, where Bill was saying it's Islam's cause that oppressing women's sexuality. And Professor Raza Asla was saying, no, it's not. In fact, 80% of the countries that practice female genital cutting are Christians. But it doesn't matter, though, what religion you are. It matters to me because we've been asked, this is the Islam thing doing. Nobody talks to us, but everybody talks about us. So usually what do? I say, it's none of your damn business, right? But not so fast. I won't let you have the hook anymore. I want to tell you how it makes us feel, the word mutilation. It tells me and the 200 million women around the world and girls that our bodies disgust. There's something wrong with us. It makes us feel awful. Imagine if you are a provider. Imagine if you are a friend who's a psychiatrist, who's a social worker. Imagine you're a classmate. You feel that way about my body. How on earth am I going to trust you? How? My community here, women who have gone through, not only the Somalis, but other Africans, have the lowest preventative care access. We're losing infants due to lack of cultural understanding because no women, despite of all the health education we do, will not go to when they feel their providers feel disgusted by what they're doing. So what can you spend your time? Get off your heels. It's not about you. What you feel, it's up to you. You're just making us feel bad. You're not helping. You're destroying us. Some of us live on sexual feelings on early age. We don't talk about our sexual needs. We are kind of isolated. What can you do? You're so smart. Try to figure out ways to do rejuvenation practices to help women feel sexuality, or whatever you call it. How about we do reconstructive surgery in reconstructing women that have, young girls that have already gone through female genital cutting? How about you spend your time listening, less judgment? How about that? Could it be better that we could save so much of death and so much depression and so much social isolation? The second thing is about hijab. Every day I hear people saying, hey, Fartun, now you're in Minnesota. You're American. Get rid of your scarf. And I would say, what is that got to do with me being me in America, in the United States? Because your men are oppressing you to wear the hijab. There's this woman that she lives in one of the wealthier districts that I wouldn't mention because she'll be mad at me. She'll know. That says, look, Fartun, I met this woman the other day. She's wearing all these big things because she doesn't know the word to use, the abaya or the hijab she's wearing. And I would say, oh my God, what she's going to tell me now. Oh, this woman has so many kids. Kids were screaming. It was 78 degrees. It was so hot. I don't know how she manages wearing this awful-looking dress. Doesn't she know that now she's in America, she can remove that? And my temperature is, if I were the calmest person at that time, my temperature goes into, my body goes into shock. And I'm trying to just say, take a deep breath. I would love to do so much, fantasize of fighting her, doing things, but I can't. I can't. I take a deep breath and I say, okay, this woman in 2 minutes, she dismantled another human being. She attacked her clothes, which is the religion. She attacked the kids she had. Negative, 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 negative. I would switch that into positive and say, that mother was told, she's telling her kids, drink water from your hands. Someone told her that library has tutors. And she's taking one of her kids. There is no one babysit the rest of the kids, so what does she do? She takes all of them. What is driving that mother? Wouldn't you say, here, let me hold one. Go ahead. Why can't the libraries give space for the families? Why? But the negative, 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 negative. So, where do we go from here? Cousins, brothers, sisters, Minnesotans, and around the world. There is a fight here. We are standing, because we're in Minnesota, we'll use the Mississippi River. We're on this side, and all white feminists are this side. Don't think you're off the hook, right? You are, because we're the closest audience, but you're so passionate that you also destroy your closest allies. How do we come together? Deficit-based approach is not working. We don't feel we're deficit, we're struggling deficit. You just don't want us to, you want us to be like you. America would not be the same if everyone became Irish or Italian or German or everybody. The diversity is what makes us stronger and makes us very innovative. I and others, Muslim women and immigrant women of color, know where we're going. Our mothers told us. I would be so offended. Actually, I'm trying to be Minnesotanized. I'll be so angry to make women like my mother invisible because she doesn't identify with you. What can we do? Where do we go from here? Please, listen. It's not about you, really. It's not really about you. Let's talk to each other. Come over without agenda, without any project. Come, be amazed, be loved, and be challenged. Be vulnerable. And from there, I can see us crossing the bridges together. Thank you very much.